Avatar is 8 episodes in total, which means I've currently watched half of the entire series. And I have to say, after a strong start from the first 2 episodes, the next 2 were not nearly as good. My name is Austin, and welcome to the watch list. After watching the first 2 episodes, I thought Avatar was on the right track, and I knew it would never be as good as the animated series, but I was pleased that the series wasn't an abomination like the last attempt. I'll never forget going to the movie theater 14 years ago. I was only 15 at the time. I'm getting so old. But I'll never forget going to the movie theater so excited to see the movie, and when I walked out, my family borderline disowned me, and I was banned from picking any movies again. To this day, 14 years later, I'm almost 30, and I've still never gone to see another movie with those same family members. That movie was atrocious. So this isn't nearly as bad, but I still have some complaints about episodes 3 and 4. The biggest one is Katara goes from barely throwing a bucket of water to be able to beat Jet and just freezes him to a tree. She could just freeze water at will now, and she wasn't even surprised. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a master now. I'm a bender. What do you want from me, Jet? I've learned all there is to learn." And later in the episode, she not only bends water fast enough to put out a flaming arrow, but to throw water fast enough for Sokka to do like a baseball slide to tackle King Boomy. The second thing is King Boomy is an abomination. I was so tempted to turn off the show as soon as he showed up. There's all this intrigue about the merchants and the Fire Nation and spies and Zuko and Aang being arrested. And it was just so cringy every time Boomy came on screen. I didn't know. There's certain things that can be done in animation that cannot be done in real life, and I feel like they should have taken a boulder. Get he's an earthbender. Boo. They should have taken a bolder stance on King Boomy, because his show was an abomination. Every part of his I hated. I couldn't stand watching it. My enjoyment of the show was just tanking every time he was on screen, and he was there for almost all of episode 4. And then, after all these goofy things that Boomy was doing, which Boomy does, I was really excited to have that scene like they had in the animated show, where Aang got to choose his opponent, and he was like, big scary guy, creepy guy, yeah, I'm fighting you, old man. I wanted that scene, and we didn't get that. Boomy was just like, oh yeah, we're fighting to the death. Square up. Did not like that. The best part of the show included Zuko. His fight with Aang was definitely a 9 out of 10. It had all the feel of the animated series while flowing really well. And I love how they started, Zuko walked up the Avatar, and Iroh was like, yo, be careful, no firebending, you're gonna alert the guards. And Zuko was like, he's only the Avatar, bro. I don't need fire. Square up, Aang. I can take you out right now. He's the freaking Avatar, bro. The strongest bender in the world. And Zuko was like, I'll whoop this kid. And then, as the fight escalates, and a random woman comes in and just starts slapping the shit out of Zuko, stop bullying the little kid. That had all the moments of a Jackie Chan scene. It felt like the show itself, that part was genuinely good. The only scene I didn't like out of that whole fight sequence was when they got in all the clothes and scarves and stuff, and it's such a movie trope that you have to have one of those fights anytime it's possible. It's like the old movie scenes where they take a guy and they slide him across a bar, and okay, yeah, I guess you had to have that obligatory scene, but I still didn't like it. It felt out of sync with the rest of the fight, but it was still better than the abomination that happened half my life ago. I'm thinking limiting the show to 8 episodes was a mistake. If the animation's 20 episodes, you should at least make the live action 10 episodes. Everything is moving too fast. 2 more hours of television could have easily fixed a lot of the pacing and cringy dialogue that feels so forced. Just allow the show to progress rather than race through everything. I mean, Katara just randomly became a master. All in all I can say is I'm not super excited for the rest of the show. I feel like you have to be indoctrinated into the show. After the first 2 episodes, it took me a second to get into it, but I was like, okay, I'm vibing with the show now. But then I took a break for a few days and came back to watch the next 2 episodes, and I felt like I had to start that process all over again. And I need to see more Azula. She did not feel like she had that Azula-ness that we all love, the psychotic ability. I mean, I've only seen her briefly, but she didn't have that vibe. And to be honest, May wasn't that great either, so I just don't know about those 3. Especially because, man, Ty Lee, whew, Ty Lee was my crush back in the day. Ty Lee was banging. And she was super fun. So I hope they at least get the way that Ty Lee fights correct. And I hope we get to see enough of it. But I'm not super excited about those three at the moment. I need to see more. Because so far, Zuko and Iroh are the only two carrying the story. Their whole, like, relationship and then their scenes with the Earthbender was... Iroh's scene with the Earthbender when he was imprisoned was really good. Zuko saving his uncle was really good. And that scene at the end of episode 4 when he watches Appa go away, and Iroh's like, "Yo, what's up, Zuko?" And he's like, "Hey, don't worry about it, Unc. We're gonna get you right." Like, all of that was so good. And I don't know what the series is gonna do for the next 4 episodes, but I feel like I'm gonna have to watch them all at one time, so I don't have to start this process of being like cringed out every time I try to watch the show. I'm lowering the show from like an 8.5 out of 10 to like a 6. Like, I don't know if it's going to get better, because I feel like Boomy was a miss, the pacing's getting worse as it goes along, the dialogue I feel like has gotten worse, and without Zuko and Iroh, this show would be tossed. I would have already stopped watching it. Those two are definitely carrying the show. I don't know, for those of you who've seen the rest of the show, did you grow to like it more as you watched more, or did you just give up? Because I was borderline close to giving up, but I have to tough it out and see how the rest of the series goes. But it's definitely not nearly as good as it started out being. So let me know down below, because I still got 4 more episodes to binge, and then I'll be back here. So let me know down below. And anyways, lights, camera, subscribe.